Across planet internet, self-appointed scientists are filming outrageous acts of science. These internet heroes are doing bizarre experiments, making extraordinary inventions, and creating amazing scientific stunts. We've gathered a team of top science brains to analyze just how they do it, why they do it, and choose the very best. It's science, but not as you know it. So stand back and don't even think about trying this at home. In this episode, we've collected the internet's heroes and hoaxers. Those brave and beguiling uploaders who make us ask if it's real or fake.
That is crazy.
It's so bright.
What the hell?
For heroes and hoaxers, I'm looking for things so close to the edge of possible, they sometimes fall off.
I'm after people who will shock me, trick me, and keep me guessing.
I love pranks. So if you can combine pranks with science, I'm in heaven.
So now we know what it takes to be a hero or a hoaxer. Let the bamboozling begin with number 20. We're in Portugal with some extreme sportsmen who are about to repeat a feat from about 2,000 years ago. Yes, this man is about to walk or run on water.
You think they're just gonna sink, but they keep going, and it looks like they're walking on the surface of water.
With almost 13.5 million hits so far, this uploader inspired many copycats. But are they heroes or hoaxers? We asked Philip and Hugo, the video's makers.
We came up with this film called Liquid Mountaineering, and it's a hoax. It's fake. We created it.
Yeah, it was a viral video for a sportswear company. But could someone actually run on water?
These guys claim that they can do it because their running speed is so fast that it's just like skipping a stone across water. And it's definitely true that if a human foot or a human hand was to slap water really hard, you actually feel a reactionary force.
The problem is, the water pushing upwards has to counteract the weight of the human pushing down. The only way you can do that is by having enormous feet or running really, really fast. These guys aren't succeeding at either of those.
Consider that Usain Bolt, the fastest man who's ever lived, only runs at something like 10.4 meters per second. These guys need to run 3 times faster than the fastest man on Earth in order to pull this off.
So if it is impossible, how did they pull it off?
Well, the trick of running on water, the way we filmed it, it was not done by computer, but it was done for real with a platform just below the surface of the water, and it was a floating platform. So if the runners put a step on that platform, it would wobble a bit, would move, and that gave us the illusion of actually stepping on like moving water as opposed to stepping on a platform. And at the end of the platform, as you can see in the video, it just stops, they fall in the water.
You're about to see something potentially lethal, so don't try this at home. This cyclist is getting far too close to the back of a truck. He's also traveling at 55 miles per hour. If the truck brakes suddenly, this dude's toast. But is it real?
This looks really unreal. It looks like a cycle is attached to the truck in the back.
It's an incredible video, and it doesn't make any sense, and so I can't figure out if it's real or not. I'm a biologist, this is not my area, so physicists, what the heck?
Amazingly, it is real. The footage was captured in Latvia on the A6 highway. So how's he going so fast?
There's really a dual effect going on here. The semi is blocking the wind. It's creating this pocket where there's no wind resistance for the cyclist. And the other is, the semi is creating these eddy currents. So this is the wind is coming and it's wrapping around the back of the truck, and that wind is actually pushing the cyclist. It's almost as though the cyclist is being sucked along by the semi-truck.
So the airflow from the truck provides extra momentum for the bike. But what else is happening this close to the back of the truck?
By hiding, which is really what he's doing, basically the air doesn't hit the cyclist. So his engine, his legs, are able to keep him, sustain him at these ridiculous speeds because there's no air resistance acting on him.
Yes, this clip is definitely real, and it's definitely dangerous. So don't try this at home.
He falls out of the sweet spot of this truck. It's really turbulent air back there, and that could oscillate him and vibrate him, and it could totally make him go completely out of control and wreck.
Okay, if you're a bit squeamish, then don't look at this video of a leg belonging to Dan Gordon from Massachusetts.
This leg cramp looks completely fake to me. There's no way something like that can happen.
Actually, son, you're wrong. This cramp is real. It was filmed by Dan's wife, Jess, who thought it was the funniest thing she'd ever seen.
You need to get up. This is not funny.
It is horrible, but what's actually going on during a cramp?
There's sensors in the muscles that tell our brains how much to contract or relax them. And when you have a cramp, these signals get messed up. The sensor that contracts your muscle is acting way too much, and the sensor that stretches your muscle is not acting at all. So you end up with this very painful, repeated muscle contraction. And that's what you see in this clip.
So why does it look like there's an alien popping out of Dan's leg?
What makes this clip look so strange is that you actually see his skin getting puckered in with the muscle. And that's because of a tissue called the fascia that attaches the skin to the muscle. And so when the muscle contracts, it's pulling that skin down with it.
Okay, take a glass and fill it with water. Place a piece of cardboard on top and turn it upside down. Remove the cardboard, spin it, and you've just performed the best party trick ever. Dan from Van Nuys, California put the internet in a massive spin with his video, which has clocked over 10 million hits and counting. But is it real? Let's look at the evidence.
It seems plausible that if you did twist the glass fast enough, then yeah, maybe the water does stay in a solid shape. Even if I'm saying it, it seems like, yeah, that sounds right.
The spinning is the red herring here. Because normally when you spin solids, like a spinning top, then they tend to be more stable. But that does not happen with liquids.
So it is a fake, but why can't you spin water like you can spin a top?
In a solid object, all the atoms are stuck together. They can't slip and slide over each other, so they're going to remain rigid and stuck in place. With water, though, they can slip all over each other. It's a fluid.
With nothing to hold them together, the water molecules spin off in a straight line, like a kid on a merry-go-round who loses his grip.
So the real thing that should happen is no matter if it's spinning or not, all the water should collapse and fall.
So how's it done? With CGI. Because the person who made this video is a special effects expert. This is Saki Shamir from Rishon LeZion, Israel. And he has a very, very tiny cannon. And he scored almost 4 million hits with a very powerful, very tiny cannon.
I am dubious about how genuine this video is.
So, is it real? Time to ask our scientists.
This cannon works on exactly the same principle that all large cannons work on, which is that you have a cannonball and you have gunpowder. When gunpowder burns, it produces a lot of gases, and all of these gases are trapped behind the cannonball and want to expand. And expand they do.
And this rapidly increases the pressure behind the cannonball. The only way that this pressure can be released is by leaving the cannon. They can only do this by pushing the cannonball out of the cannon at really high speed.
That ball ended up traveling at 2,000 kilometers per hour, or 1,200 miles per hour. That's almost a speeding bullet.
No wonder it causes destruction. If you were firing a handgun, you wouldn't be surprised to see those results. Why should it be any different coming out of a tiny cannon?
So it's just as real as a small handgun. And it proves one thing.
It's not the size of the cannon that's important. It's how powerful it is.
So far, our internet heroes and hoaxers have pretended to run on water, danced with death, and discovered why this is impossible.
Isn't that awesome?
But coming up, we're going to be popping corn, juggling sharks, and doing this. But which ones are real? Welcome back to our countdown of the internet's most stunning heroes and hoaxers. As we enter our top 15, it's time to find out if this Dutchman is a hacker or a hoaxer. Meet Max the Hacker from Holland. He caused a sensation when these videos appeared of him hacking into cars. signal network, and even the control center of Dutch Railways.
If this is real, it is highly disconcerting.
If it's that easy to actually hack into the Dutch train system, I don't think I want to be taking a train there.
But is it real? We asked the creators of the video, brothers Roel and Bay Swelling.
Everything was fake. He's not a hacker, he's an actor. We were asked by an IT company to make a recruitment campaign. We thought, let's exaggerate being very technical. And therefore we came up with a hacker.
So it was all faked using actors and CGI for a viral video. But could a real hacker hack into the Dutch train network?
There are two steps to why Max can't have actually done this. First of all, the system is not plugged into the internet, and if it's not cabled into the net or somehow connected wirelessly, then there's no way to get access to it. Even if they are connected, they have all sorts of precautions in place. There are firewalls, they have security passwords. If those are compromised, they're keeping an eye on the system to see if anything unusual happens.
Yeah, but what if a super hacker did get past all those defenses? Then what?
There are some fantastic ways of using some simple maths which are virtually impossible to break. And this is called public encryption, which involve multiplying two very large prime numbers together, and then they use that to code information. But if you try and crack that code, essentially you're going to have to try and grab this number and work out what the original primes were. And for any computer to do that in the world right now would take at least 100,000 years.
Kelly Conley from Pennsylvania captured this weird footage of a candle igniting a plant in her garden.
Frankly, I don't believe this clip. I'm not exactly sure what the trick is, but it doesn't look to me like the plant material is actually set on fire.
Seems like some kind of an elaborate hoax.
It could be that they faked this by spraying the plants in some kind of flammable chemical and setting fire to that. But I've looked into this, and this is actually a real plant. It's called Dictamnus albus, and its common name is the gas plant. This plant emits a chemical called dictogymnin, and when sunlight hits this chemical, it decomposes and releases isoprene, which is a flammable gas.
Now this isoprene is a little bit denser than air, so once it's produced, it can just sit around the plant if it's relatively undisturbed.
And if you are to put a match to it, then this mixture of the oxygen in the air and the isoprene is very flammable.
But what's going on with this plant? And why doesn't it wither when Kelly ignites it?
Because the plant is full of water, that actually protects the plants from singeing. So you can burn the lovely isoprene and get this burning effect of the plant, but the plant remains safe.
So how and why do plants make isoprene?
Scientists don't know why this plant makes these particular essential oils, but plants make essential oils for all kinds of reasons. Maybe to attract insects, or to seal wounds in the plant, or to keep water from evaporating. In this particular case, we don't know.
Here's a stomach-churning clip, literally. This is a very pregnant woman. But what's going on in there?
This looked like a scene from a sci-fi movie. I definitely thought this was not real.
I mean, what was it doing in there? It looked like it was moving furniture.
Is this real, or is it some kind of special effect?
I'm the biologist with 4 kids, so this didn't really freak me out, although I think it's fascinating to watch. I watch this happening with my own belly a lot, and it's one of those things where you really want people to see this because it's remarkable, but then they don't see, they don't come in time, or you don't grab the camera in time. So it's really cool that these people were able to catch this moment.
Yes, this isn't science fiction, it's science fact. So why is this very human baby reenacting the most famous scene in Alien?
When a fetus moves inside a womb, it's really just coordinating its muscles and developing its strength and its ability to move.
And this is very important that the baby is moving because it has to train. It has to train its muscle and especially its nerve connections. So the nerve signals to the leg move, and if the baby doesn't practice, this connection will never be established properly. So it's a very good thing that the baby moves.
Oh, and by the way, if you still think that's an alien in her stomach, this is a video of Sidoni, who was born shortly after the clip was filmed. Stick around for more on Outrageous Acts of Science. So, you want to make some popcorn popcorn, but you don't have a microwave. Well, get all your friends to put their cell phones together and cook it yourself.
That's crazy. Oh, that's too much.
I would like to try and make popcorn like this, but I don't think that it will work. For sure, this is a fake.
Yes, it is a hoax, but that didn't stop lots of us from falling for it.
The reason that people think that cell phones would be able to pop popcorn just like a microwave oven would is because they both transmit microwaves. The way microwave ovens work is they transmit microwaves to the food at a frequency at which the water molecules vibrate.
Vibration is actually heat, so you can cook food inside a microwave oven.
Okay, so what's the difference between the microwaves emitted by a mobile phone?
A microwave oven has a power of about 700 watts, and a mobile phone has a transmission power of about 1 watt. Now, even in this, where you've got 3 mobile phones working, you're going to have nowhere near enough power to cook popcorn. That system is about 200 times less powerful than a normal microwave oven.
So you'd have to literally put together hundreds of cell phones to even have a chance at making this happen.
Yes, this 12 million hit viral video was all done with editing and CGI.
So there's no danger in a mobile phone cooking popcorn, and it certainly can't cook your brain.
Here's a neat trick which has almost 750,000 hits so far. Make a paper airplane. Take 2 fans. Put them on opposite sides. Position your airplane between them. And enjoy your hovering paper airplane. But is it real?
To get a plane to fly, you need a strong flow of air moving across the wings. That creates a difference in the pressure above and below the wings, and that's what gives a plane lift. So the first fan looks like it's doing all the right things. They've introduced a second fan in a direction exactly opposite to the first one, because it would immediately push the air in the opposite direction, so you would kind of stabilize the plane in the middle. There's just something not quite right about it.
The first thing is that if you put a second fan there, it's going to cancel the flow from the first fan. And so essentially you won't have air flowing over the wings and you won't have any lift. But it's even worse than that, because by having the second flow, you're creating a very turbulent environment right where the airplane is. And turbulence is the exact opposite of this smooth flow, and you will have no lift whatsoever.
So, how did they do it? Fishing wire. Okay, don't believe everything you see on the internet. So far, our scientists have been amazed and mystified by some of the internet's most convincing fakes and genuine feats. But as we enter the top 10, it's time to roll tape. Now let's take a roll of tape and some compressed air. Blast the air over the top of the tape, and yes, the tape appears to spin in midair.
This clip, it totally looks like we're violating all the laws of physics.
This definitely looks impossible. I mean, a spinning blue cylinder just screams, this has been done in CGI.
This has got to be fake, right?
Looking at this the first time, I thought it had to be a hoax. But actually, the more I looked at it, the more I realized that actually this is real, and there's some really interesting physics at play.
So how does this amazing effect work?
There's 2 physics effects. The first is that whenever a fast-moving fluid flows over a curved surface, it creates a force of attraction between the fluid and the curved surface. And so that force of attraction keeps that column of air directed along the surface of that tape, and so it goes over the top and down the bottom side.
Now, because you've got air flowing down, you get an equal and opposite reaction. You get lift in the opposite direction.
And so as long as you have that column of air, you have a suspended roll of tape, and that's what we see.
But this doesn't just work with rolls of tape.
Any round or cylindrical object will work. All you have to do is pass fast-moving air over it, and you can hold it in midair.
So far, we've discovered why mobile phones can't do this. Why a paper plane could never do this. And why leg muscles can definitely do this. But coming up, things get even weirder as we uncover more heroes and hoaxers on Outrageous Acts of Science. Welcome back to our countdown of heroes and hoaxers. So far, we've hacked, blasted, and burnt our way into the top 10. But now it's time to find out whether this musician is a hero or a hoaxer. Is it possible to make these sounds using fruits and vegetables?
I don't think that you can hook up vegetables and produce such a different array of sounds merely by touching them. I would call this as a hoax.
A hoax, you say? We were so intrigued, we went to Brooklyn to meet experimental electronic musician Jay Hughes to find out what's behind his musical fruit salad.
I went out to buy fruits and vegetables to test a new circuit board that I bought just for the fun of it. And I started to link like each fruit or vegetable to a certain sound in my sampler. Well, obviously the bass drum had to be an eggplant because it looks like a bass drum, like and like the sweet melody with strawberries. Do, 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 do. It's just nice.
Circuit boards and aubergine drums? Okay, now we're even more confused. Scientists!
This whole instrument works on the idea of completing a circuit to make a note. So he's got a circuit board that is attached to a synthesizer, and he's got one wire coming out that's attached to him. There's loads of other wires coming out that are each attached to fruit, and each of those different fruits is a different sound.
So when he touches that vegetable, that completes the circuit. And then that tells the circuit board that, look, this circuit's been closed, and that sends another signal to this keyboard, to the MIDI controller, that then makes a sound.
As he touches the strawberry, it completes that circuit and plays a harpsichord sound. He touches the grapes, it completes a different circuit, and that plays the sound of a bell. That's how he can get all the different sounds, by touching all the different fruits.
So the circuit includes Jay and his fruit instruments. But doesn't that mean electricity is traveling through him? Shouldn't he get a shock?
There's so little current, he barely notices it. And so the human body can conduct a little bit of current, the vegetables can conduct a little bit of current, and by joining it together, there's enough of a circuit to send a signal back to the computer.
You actually don't need vegetables to complete the circuit. You just need something that can conduct a small amount of electricity. Technically, you could play Lady Gaga on a keyboard of meat, and I'm sure she'd enjoy it.
Here's a different type of racetrack. Apparently, it works on the principle of quantum levitation. Yes, we're talking about magnets and superconductors.
This looks like a super cool, high-tech version of the race car games we used to play as a kid. Except instead of relying on a track with electricity, it's just hovering. That's amazing.
At almost 3.5 million hits so far, it's definitely getting a lot of attention. But is this an awesome new toy or a hoax?
The unfortunate thing about this clip, as cool as it looks, is that it's actually a fake. But it's actually built on real physics. It's based on a property of superconductors that's known as the Meissner effect.
So if you have a permanent magnet and you put a very cold superconductor over it, it repels the magnetic field of the permanent magnet, creating a tunnel which would allow the car to float or hover above it.
To prove that physics do work, here's a real Meissner effect in action. So, how did our scientists spot the fake?
There was one thing that indicated to me that this was actually a fake clip, and that is the guy manipulates his remote control, and the car is able to move in any direction at a whim. With the setup that they had, which is based on permanent magnets, you just can't do that.
Stick around for more on Outrageous Acts of Science. Meet Jason and Gina, who illuminated some science with this clip that has entertained over 1 million of us.
I'm gonna show you guys a crazy thing. You need like floor cleaner, a dum-dum, and some dish soap, and like a little bit of water. Put that in here, 2 caps. Put this on top of the dish soap. All right.
I'm scared. Oh my god, look.
That is crazy.
It's so bright.
What the hell? Look at that.
That glowing color is incredible. It actually makes me wonder what is in this stuff.
Yeah, what is it in dish soap that makes it behave like this?
I wonder how long it's gonna glow for.
So, is it real or another hoax?
This is unfortunately too magical to be true.
What I think they've actually done here is take advantage of a chemical reaction that we've all seen before, but probably never really thought about. And it happens in one of these. Now, this is your average glow stick. And there's three really important chemicals in here. The two starter chemicals are isolated from one another. We've got hydrogen peroxide in an inside core, and on the outside we have a phenyl oxalate.
Now what happens is when you snap the glow stick like this, the chemicals mix together, and the hydrogen peroxide ends up breaking down the phenyl oxalate ester.
Now, our third chemical comes in here, and that's our fluorescent dye. It's capturing all that energy that the first two chemicals are releasing, and it gets really, really excited. But when it chills back down into its normal stage, it has to then release this energy once again, and it re-emits the energy it's taken in the form of light. And this is how we get a glow stick.
These guys have taken advantage of this reaction and used it to fool us all. What they've done is what they call water is hydrogen peroxide, and then the dish soap and floor cleaner that they add to it is the fluorescent dye and the phenyl oxalate ester, and this creates the same reaction you'd see in a glow stick.
So there you have it. It's just regular floor cleaner and the creative use of a glow stick. Meet Professor Jim Antaki. He claims to have uploaded a special video of himself playing a harmonica. But is it real? We've all seen x-rays, but how about a moving x-ray of a person playing the harmonica?
I've taken x-rays in my life, but I've never seen an x-ray video. It was an extraordinary sight to see the movement of the bones, as well as obviously the harmonica.
Well, this amazing footage is real. So how is it done?
X-rays are radiation, just like normal light, except they're working at a different frequency, and as a result, they have a higher energy, and they go through flesh and are only blocked by bones.
But how do you film an x-ray? Is there some special x-ray camera?
Normal X-ray machine will transmit the X-rays onto the subject, and then the X-ray sensitive paper will react accordingly and give us a sort of still image of the broken bone or whatever. What he's done here is, instead of it hitting X-ray material, it hits a fluoroscope, and that is a very clever device that turns the X-rays into fluorescent light. And then from the back, he's able to video that with an old video camera.
Jim submitted himself to the equivalent of about 3 months' worth of radiation to make this clip, but don't try this at home. High doses of x-rays definitely aren't good for you.
High doses of X-ray radiation can cause mutation and cancer, so fluoroscopes are to be avoided unless absolutely necessary.
So far in our countdown to the internet's heroes and hoaxers, we've met an alien baby, some wacky water, and a vegetable virtuoso. So welcome to the Top 5, where things are about to really heat up. This is Douglas Fatur, who made this video while exploring Darvaza in Turkmenistan.
Oh my god, it's hot. It's on fire.
I can't tell if this is real or not, but I have a feeling it's fake, but then a part of me still says it's real. I'm not sure.
Well, Saad, we'll put you out of your misery. It is real, but what is it?
The nickname for this place is the doorway to hell.
Scientifically speaking, this is a huge natural gas reservoir.
In the 1970s, a team of people went to this site to see if it was a good place that they could build a gas rig.
What actually happened was that when they were investigating just the amount of natural gas in this reservoir, it collapsed in on itself.
And started emitting a lot of natural gas, which is colourless, odourless, poisonous, and highly flammable. So they decided the best way to get rid of this was to set fire to it and watch the well burn itself out. What they didn't expect was for it to keep burning, and burning, and burning, and burning, so that now it's still burning.
So it's been burning for more than 40 years. But why is there so much gas?
Natural gas is formed when organic matter like dead animals and dead plants gets buried deep below the earth and subjected to high temperatures and pressures. This breaks down the carbon-carbon bonds to form natural gas.
And just how long will it burn for?
It depends on how much gas is below the earth as to how long this will burn for. It could burn for an incredibly long time.
Now, you may think sharks are scary. But not in the warm waters of Grand Bahama in the Caribbean, where it's lunchtime for Caribbean reef sharks. And what's got over 2.5 million internet viewers buzzing is this. The diver appears to put the shark to sleep, and then does something even more bizarre. Yes, she's balancing the shark on its nose. Or is she?
Okay, shark balancing. No one is going to do that. This cannot be real.
Is this real or is it not? Balancing a shark on his nose? How could you do that?
The best person to tell us whether she's a heroine or a hoaxer is scuba pro Christina Zanato.
This clip that you see is real and 100%, and I'm the person in the clip. I want people to stop and go, oh wow, I did not know sharks could do that. And maybe I can educate a little bit more about the true nature of sharks.
So how does Christina get the shark to balance on its nose?
Christina is stroking the shark and it's picking up on the electrical charges from her chainmail glove interacting with the water, and it sends it into a sort of hypnotic state. Scientists call it tonic immobility, where it seems to be incredibly relaxed, so much so that she can tip it up and balance it on one hand. In other animals, tonic immobility is a last resort. It's a way of playing dead when they're being hunted. But in sharks, because they're top predators, no one's really sure why they do this.
Christina is manipulating the shark's sensory perception. The sharks have got these very, very fine pores in their nose, which enable them to sense electrical signals from other animals around them.
The way that they detect these electric fields is through something called the ampullae of Lorenzini. They're canals that are lined with hair, a little bit like the human ear, leading down to a gel-filled chamber which is surrounded by nerve cells.
They're very, very sensitive, so by gently stroking the nose of the shark, you're overstimulating this system. I like to think the shark is really getting off on this.
Remember, Christina is an experienced shark stroker. So don't ever try this, or you could end up as the main course.
I don't think anybody can do this. I think it takes the right combination of the right person with the right shark at the right time in the right conditions.
And no, it won't harm the shark. Coming up next on Outrageous Acts of Science, we find out who took our top spot on Heroes and Hoaxers. Welcome back to Outrageous Acts of Science. Our scientists have found some incredible heroes and uncovered some true hoaxers. But at number 3, there's danger in the skies. 42 million hits have made our number 3 one of the top internet videos of all time. Is this a golden eagle trying to steal a toddler? Or is it an elaborate hoax?
This caught me off guard. I have never heard of a bird of prey making off with an actual human before.
I actually think this is real. I don't think this is a fake. Is it a fake?
The good news is that golden eagles don't attack children, so parents, stay calm.
Yes, it's all CGI. It was made by some Canadian media students in Montreal. But could it actually happen?
A bird of this size can certainly attack something that is even larger than it is, so it's conceivable that it might attack a toddler. However, it wouldn't be able to actually pick up a toddler and fly away with it.
Golden eagles weigh something in the order of 14 pounds, about 6 kilograms, and a child would weigh something like 22 pounds. A bird of that size can really only manage about a third of its own weight, so it simply couldn't pick up a child this big.
Did our science sleuth spot anything else?
There were a few other clues that this might not have been real.
Problem is, that particular place is not somewhere where you're likely to find golden eagles. This was shot in Montreal. And the bird watchers out there on the internet were pretty quick to say, well, that's not normal.
And secondly, the bird didn't look enough like a golden eagle. The wing shape was wrong, and the colourings and the markings didn't match that of a golden eagle.
And of course, no babies or eagles were harmed in the making of this video, because they were all digital effects. We're staying in Montreal for our next clip. Is it real or is it fake?
It almost looks like it's some CGI effect or it's out of a movie or something.
I couldn't believe it. What's causing it?
Yes, this clip is real. And it was shot by Michael Vidd in Montreal after a huge rainstorm.
The force must have been huge because, first of all, it completely knocked off a manhole cover when those things are heavy. But then it didn't stop there. It actually lifted up a car. That's just water. That's what you drink. That's what you need to live. And here it is, pushing up a car.
So, what's going on here? Time to consult our scientists for answers.
In the half hour preceding this video, there had been a torrential downpour of rain in Montreal.
And Montreal isn't perfectly flat. There's regions of high and low, and the storm drains can't cope. But you can imagine this is like a U-bend system. You've got water going in one side and trying to push out the other end. And this is happening at one of those low points.
So when you have a lot of water up here, trying to get down there, there's a lot of force behind it. And all of a sudden it found this manhole cover and said, oh, that's a place we can relieve a lot of this pressure, a lot of this force.
The manhole isn't really held down enough. The water is strong enough to just push up past that and had this huge geyser effect. That's basically what happens when there's too much water in your drain system.
So far in our countdown of the internet's top heroes and hoaxers, we've explored quantum levitation, put sharks to sleep, and bamboozled some of our best brains.
This is another fake!
But now it's time to salute our #1 clip on heroes and hoaxers. Meet Jano Smeets from the Netherlands. He has an epic dream. Yes, Jano, like the rest of us, has always wanted to fly like a bird. And when he uploaded this video, it quickly scored 8 million hits.
Who hasn't ever wanted to fly, right? Everybody dreams about it. And the fact that there's a video kind of showing you that it's possible, that's pretty cool.
This is fantastic. Who has not wanted to own their own pair of wings? It's got to be everybody's dream.
Can this possibly be true? We met up with a Flying Dutchman himself.
What inspired me to start this project was a personal dream I have since I'm a little boy, and that's being able to fly like a bird.
Okay, so is Jano a hero or is he a hoaxer? Before we find out, let's see if our scientists think his wings would work.
Given the fact that a bird's mass is directly proportional to its wingspan squared, then given that his weight is 70 kilos or 150 pounds, then he'd need to have a wingspan of about 10 meters or 33 feet, which he has.
So, is it real?
Unfortunately, this guy's video is another hoax.
Yep, it was faked, using a combination of props and clever computer-generated imagery. Oh, and by the way, Jano is actually a filmmaker called Floris Kite.
This is the digital wings, and then the actor here comes into screen. I try to glue it together as good as possible and as believable as possible. And then this is some kind of the result of it.
The result is incredibly convincing. But why can't he fly like a bird?
The only animals that fly, that are large, not counting insects, are bats and birds. And they have several anatomical modifications that allow them to fly.
When you look at birds flying, birds flap their wings, but they flap their wings using a musculoskeletal system that we just don't have. The first thing is that they have incredibly large, incredibly strong pectoral muscles. That's the things across their chest which actually move the wings down in particular.
Pectoralis muscle that a bird uses to flap its wings, that's 20% of the bird's body mass. Our chest muscles are nowhere near that.
That's why, for example, the best piece of bird meat is the breast, right? It's this big, large muscle. And humans just don't have large enough muscles to pull off what's required. We just can't do it.
Well, there you have it. You'd need giant pectoral muscles to actually pull this off. But it is a brilliant hoax.
This guy is our #1, and it's because he's gone to such great lengths to hoax us all into believing this. And not only that, he's managed to convince a heck of a lot of very intelligent people that this was real. And for that, he is our #1.
And as our victorious hoaxer flaps his digital wings, it's time for us to fly. Until next time on Outrageous Acts of Science.